Okay, today in math, we're going to practice skip counting by ones, tens, and hundreds. So let's start with 100. Here we are going to skip count. We're going to start with 100 and we're going to go all the way to 1,000. So if I add another 1 from 100, we have 101. Keep counting with me. 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110. What can I make with these 10 ones? Well, I can put my 10 ones together and I can make a group of 10. So here is my group of 10. So altogether I have 110. Now I'm going to continue counting, but now I'm going to count by tens. So after 110 would come 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200. So again, I can group my 10 tens now and make a 100. Here is my 200 now. Now I'm going to continue counting by hundreds until I get to 1,000. So here's 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. Remember, 10 100s together gives me 1,000. Okay, now we're going to skip count, but we're going to start with 100 again, but this time we are only going to count to 124. So let's see how we can do this. Well, we could start with 100, and then we could count by tens to give me my two tens. So from 100, we could go 110, then 120. Now we need to add 4 more ones. So 120, 121, 122, 123, 124. That's one way I can skip count from 100 to 124. But there's other ways. So let's try a different way. So we'll start with our 100 again. But this time, let's count with some ones. So from 100, we could do 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110. Then we could do 120. Now we'll count by tens. And now we can count by ones again. 121, 122, 123, 124. We could do another way. So we could start with 100. And then let's count with tens again. So let's do 100, 110. Now we could count by ones. 111, 112, 113, 114. And now I could add another 10 to make it 124. So, as you can see, there are many different ways that we can skip count. Now, the most efficient way, however, is to start with your largest and then go down to your smallest, as we did in the first example. So today, you will be drawing a number, and then you will be showing me how you will count up to the next number. So, on your workbook page, here's an example of what you might see. It says skip count from 95 to 220. So, I'm going to draw 95. Now remember, squares are 100s, thin rectangles are 10s, and lines are 1s. So, to draw 95, I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then 1, 92, 93, 94, 95. Here is my 95. Now I'm going to count up to 220. So from 95, I'm going to try and get to my next 10. Remember, 10s end in 0. So from 95, I'm going to add 1s to get to my next 10. So this would be 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Now I'm at 100. So it would be easiest to count by hundreds to get to 200. So from 100, I'm going to draw 100, and that gives me 200. I need to get to 220. So now I'm going to count by tens until I get to 220. So this would be 210, 220. So I've skip counted by ones, tens, and hundreds to get starting at 95 to get all the way to 220. And as I've done it, I've drawn my picture. Okay, we're going to do one more example before we turn to our workbook page. So here I'm going to start with 50 and I'm going to count to 300. So again, I'm going to draw my 50. So here's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I'm going to box my starting number and I'm going to label it. Now, I'm going to continue counting by tens. So after 50, I'm going to add a 10 and I would get 60. Then I'm going to add another 10 for 70, 80, 90, and 100. Now, since I want to get to 300, I'm going to now count by hundreds until I get to 300. So if I add 100 to 100, that gives me 200. And then add one more 100 to get 300. So I have skip counted using tens and hundreds, starting at 50 and going up to 300. Okay, now let's open up our workbook. Find Lesson 2 in your workbook. It will look like this. I'm going to do the first one with you. You will do the remaining 3 on your own. So let's look at what it says to do. It says draw, label, and box 100. Draw pictures of the units you use to count from 100 to 124. So you're going to do the same thing I showed you, in your workbook. So we're going to start with 100. So I'm going to draw 100. I'm going to label it, and I'm going to box it. This is my starting number. Now I'm going to count up to 124. Well, since it has two tens in 124, I'm going to start by counting by tens. So here's 110, 120. Now that I'm at 120, I only need to go 4 more to get to 124. So now I'm going to add ones to get to 124. So after 120 would come 121, 122, 123, 124. So now we've done the first one together. You will complete the next ones on your own. So B says, draw a label in box 124. Draw pictures of the units you use to count from 124 to 220. So again, you need to draw 124. So that's 100, 110, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124. I'm going to box it and label. And now you are going to continue by drawing your pictures and counting to get to 220. When you finish this page, move on to the next page. Okay, on this problem, you're going to draw, label, and box 85. After you've drawn and labeled 85, you're going to draw pictures of the units you would count from 85 to 120. And once you finish that one, then you will do letter D, draw, label, and box 120. Draw pictures of the units you would use to count from 120 to 193. When you finish these 4 problems, you're done with today's workbook page.